Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of Fallen Flags America. I am your host, L&M Productions, and today we will be discussing one of the probably most underappreciated stretches of track throughout the Southern Railway system. And that stretch of track is in western North Carolina, and it is simply known as Saluda. So here we see Southern Railway 3045, a EMD SD 35, which, fun fact, are kind of rare EMDs. You don't really see many SD 35s, period. But anyway, it is leading what appears to be a mixed manifest up Saluda, um, going past some. These are either early PTC signals or they might be the box style searchlight signals. Sound off in the comments if you have any thoughts on what type of signals the Southern Railway used, because I do know that they did use searchlights, although they were kind of different from most of the railroads. But yeah, so that's a picture of the day. Now, let's get into this video. So, here we see Wikipedia's description on Saluda Grade. So, Saluda Grade is the steepest standard gauge mainline railroad grade in the United States. Owned by the Norfolk Southern Railway as part of the W Line, which the W Line runs from Asheville, North Carolina, to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and then to Columbia, South Carolina. So, yeah, it was part of the W line, but the W line has pretty much been abandoned, unfortunately, by Norfolk Southern, because Norfolk Southern has their reasons, and I'm just going to tell you guys that very soon I will be doing my own video on L&M Productions' thoughts of PSR. And I really look forward to doing that video for reasons I will let you guys think about them. But anyway, Saluda Grade is in Polk County, North Carolina. It gains 606 feet, 185 meters in elevation in less than 3 miles between Melrose and Saluda, North Carolina. The average grade is 4.24% for 2.6 miles, and a maximum is 4.9% for about 300 feet. 4.24% in railroad terms, it may not sound like it in just standard grade terms, but railroad terms, that is a very, 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 very steep grade. It was actually a common practice throughout the entire operating years of Saluda, all the way up until its closure in 2007 by Norfolk Southern. It was either 2007 or 2009 when they closed Saluda. But what they would have to do is that they would bring their train up to they would have a siding which would be in downtown Saluda, and the train would stop, disconnect half of its train, put it in the siding, go over the grade, stop that siding, go back light to get the other half of their train, and they would have to double the hill. That's what it was called, when you would take half of your train over at once and then half of your train over afterward. And sometimes they even have to triple the hill, which meant you did this 3 times instead of 2. So, the history of Saluda Grade: Captain Charles Pearson was assigned to select a route for the then Spartanburg and Ashville Railroad to ascend the Blue Ridge Front. Now, the Blue Ridge Front is a part of the Blue Ridge Mountains, which sits in western North Carolina. Just so you guys have some understanding, the area where the rolling hills of the Piedmont end at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Despite numerous surveys, no route was available for the railroad to ascend the mountains at a tolerable grade, and the best route followed the Pahoklet River Valley and Gorge. The line begins its climb at the bottom of Melrose Mountain, where Tryon is today, at 1,181 feet, and continues on the south side of the Pocahontas Valley At Melrose, which Melrose is the bottom of the grade. This is where it goes up after Melrose. The Saluda Grade begins and climbs to the town of Saluda, cresting in the center of town at an elevation of 2,197 feet. Because of accidents involving downgrade runaway trains in the late 1800s, the Southern Railway built two runaway tracks, or as they refer to it, safety spur tracks. Those were originally man junctions, which were always switched to a 60-foot pile of earth, which could stop downgrade runaway trains. Basically, they would crash into the pile of dirt they would have there, and that would not only stop the train but derail it. This track, I think, was used at least twice in Saluda's existence. Only upon hearing a whistle signal from a downgrade train would the signalman manning the spur junction throw the switch to keep the train on the main line. In later years, CTC, which I think was Centralized Train Control, if I remember right, that's what it stands for, was installed along with automated switches and timer circuits for the one surviving runaway safety track down at the bottom of the grade at Melrose. Because the locomotive technology had evolved so much that one of the runaway tracks, it was the other one, I think, at Peterson's Gate, that one was abandoned in favor of keeping the one at, at Melrose. Trains running downgrade were required to maintain 8 miles per hour when approaching the runaway track switch. This would allow a timer circuit to determine if a train was under control, in which case the switch from the runaway track at Melrose would be aligned to the main line. But for a greater speed than 8 miles per hour, the switch would remain aligned for the runaway track. Saluda Grade was one of the few grades in America where uphill trains could travel faster than their downhill counterparts. Most uphill trains would have to double or triple the grade, splitting the train into sections to be taken up the grade to Saluda one at a time and reassembled there for the rest of the trip west to Asheville. Norfolk Southern suspended traffic between East Flat Rock, North Carolina, and Landrum, South Carolina, in December 2001, thus ceasing operations on Saluda Grade. Well, I was wrong. In April 2003, Norfolk Southern surveyed the line from the rest of its system by placing mounds of dirt over the tracks and disconnecting the rails at posts 26 and 45. The signal system is not in use, and grade crossings have had their arms removed and signals covered. Norfolk Southern has inspected and maintained the right-of-way since placing the segment out of service, removing falling trees, and spraying herbicide on encroaching vegetation, but at least 4 washouts of a roadbed had occurred between Saluda and South Carolina, rendering the line impassable. Talks of a passenger train excursion and a rails-to-trail conversion have made no headway in recent years, and Norfolk Southern states it does not intend to abandon the line. However, in 2004, Norfolk Southern sold a portion of the W Line south of Asheville. 2014, my bad. Between mileposts 1 and 26 to Watco Companies, LLC, a Class 3 short line operator. Watco operates the line as the Blue Ridge Southern Railroad. Norfolk Southern still retains ownership of the out-of-service segment over the Saluda Grade. Since 2014, weed control spraying has stopped and kudzu has grown all over the lower third of the grade. So there you go. That's what happened to Saluda. Now, hopefully someday over here at L&M Productions, we can actually make a trip out to Saluda and we can photograph what's left of Saluda. However, fun fact about Waco, funny they mention it, Waco is the same company who owns the nearby short line from me, the Louisville and Indiana Railroad, which runs from Louisville, I think, to Indianapolis, Indiana. They run from Louisville, Kentucky to Indianapolis, Indiana. So, yeah, Saluda, unfortunately, will probably never see a train again on it just because of the fact that it is a very interesting piece of line, and everyone was really sad to see it abandoned. And recently, in the past year, 2020 and 19, Norfolk Southern ran their last trains over the Asheville loops. And if you don't know what the Asheville loops are, I highly recommend you go check out those videos. They are on Delay and Block Productions channel. I think he's got a video. And I don't know if NS Modeler 24 has a video out or not. I'll have to see if I can find one from him, but I do know that Delay and Block was there when they ran the last train over Saluda. He actually covered that on his channel, and he is an amazing channel. I highly recommend you check his channel out. You won't be disappointed. So that's really all I've got here, guys. But thank you for tuning in to this episode of Fallen Flags of America. And as I say in every video, make sure you hit that like button down below. It should be right about down here. I know you can't see where I'm pointing, but right down here, right down there, yeah. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see daily content just like this. We always do it every Monday. We always have a Fallen Flags of America video. If you're into tractors, we have a series on that premieres every Tuesday. So be sure and check that out. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for L&M Productions. But until we meet again, somewhere out there in the high iron, this is L&M Productions.